Hey everybody, Adam Savage in the cave, and it is time to wrap up. It's time for end of year lists wrapping up 2025. There's been a lot of lovely things to take in this year, and I'm going to go over some movies and YouTube and music and podcasts and books and television. So let's get started. I get asked a lot about what kind of music I listen to here in the cave. I wrote down the 5 that I keep on going back to listen to. And again, I mostly only listen to these when I know that I'm shooting a time lapse and that they can ramp the footage that I'm listening to. But I'm a deep fan of Radiohead, specifically OK Computer, one of the greatest albums ever made. I love The Killers. I've been having this whole renaissance with The Killers. David Bowie, anything. Talking Heads. And specifically, Bowie and the Talking Heads exist in this very specific part of my brain where I think of them as art music. I think of Bowie as so much more than a pop star that I think of his music as like, elevated music. And the same thing with the Talking Heads. But the reality is not that it's not elevated, but that it's also just great pop music. Both of them, the Talking Heads and Bowie, wrote elevated music that was also perfectly poppy. And I just keep on going back to it. I keep on going back to David Byrne, Stop Making Sense, listening to songs like Heaven and Psycho Killer. I also love soundtrack compendiums. And the one that has been really reliable for me as a soundtrack compendium is the Girls soundtracks. There were 5 seasons of the show Girls, I believe 5 seasons. Every single one of them has a banger soundtrack album. Lots of amazing things on there. Bands I did not know about, like Christine and the Queens. And I'm literally about once every 3 or 4 weeks, I got to go listen to Robin sing Bowie's Life on Mars. So music, there's nobody new that I'm bringing up. I'm an old, I don't have some brand new people to tell you about, just some of my nostalgia. And actually, one of the items on that list, The Killers, comes about because of one of my favorite podcasts this year, which is Song Exploder. Song Exploder's been around for a while. It has also been recently made into a visual podcast, so you can actually see the people they're talking about. Its host, Rishikesh Hirway. Rishikesh Hirway is an amazing host, interviews these musicians about songs they wrote, but he gets access to all of the streams of their music, all of the separate pieces that made up the song, and then gets this amazing ground level view of how the song came into being. Songs like You Can Go Your Own Way by Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham. Songs like Aha's Take on Me. If it's a song you know, it's a beautiful podcast because you open by hearing strains of the song, you go through all of this detail that you never knew anything about, and then they finish by playing you the song. And it is one of these great magic tricks where even though you already love the song, having heard bits of it all through the podcast, to finish with getting to hear it in its entirety, now with all this new knowledge you have, it's a wonderful podcast because it prepares your mind for its own end and then satisfies what it has prepared you for. I really can't get enough of it. Last year, in my favorite things, I did not cover podcasts. And the specific podcast I was going to cover last year that I never got around to was Tansy Gardam's Going Rogue. I've talked about it in other points on the channel. Tansy Gardam is a screenwriter and film critic out of Australia. Her podcast started as I believe, a 5-part series on the troubled production of the film Rogue One. And she gave what I consider a very balanced kind of layout of how difficult the production was and why and how it came about. And then she specifically now covers other troubled productions. She also loves the Pirates of the Caribbean films and covers them at insanely great depth. She's a super nerd and a deep film lover, and retains all sorts of crazy facts about the movies that she watches. And when she delivers a particularly hilarious or esoteric fact, she says, because I am burdened with knowledge, and now so are you. I love Going Rogue. It is also a podcast that I enjoy listening to more than once. I've listened to most of the episodes at least twice. I really, really, really like Tansey's moral frame in taking you through a script. One of the most remarkable episodes is about the film Don't Worry, Darling, Olivia Wilde's film with Francis Pugh and Harry Styles. She covers the original script that the film was made from, but then talks and walks you through all the ways in which that original script changed over the course of production, the reasons why, some of the on-set drama, but more really always about the narrative. A spectacular, spectacular podcast for lovers of film. I also had Criminal on there, Phoebe Judge, but I have covered that in years past. Ologies, Ali Ward, absolutely honorable mention. We'll include links to all of these in the description. I have been grooving on the science communication of Hank Green this year. I've met Hank a couple of times. We travel in similar circles, as you can imagine. He's a very different on-screen presenter than I am, and I am super compelled by the way he talks about stuff and how he lays it out. Just a big fan. Really, really like. If for your science communication, he's one of the best going right now. And then the podcast that took me forever to get around to. Wait a minute, I'm going to get ahead of myself. I have talked on the channel before about how much I love the If Books Could Kill podcast. One of the hosts of If Books Could Kill, Michael Hobbs, used to be co-host of a podcast called You're Wrong About with co-host Sarah Marshall. He has since left that podcast. Sarah Marshall continues it. It is a spectacular podcast. It is amazing. I love Sarah and Michael together. I've listened to many of their episodes. It's a deep catalog, so I'm still working through it. And then after Michael leaves, Sarah has other hosts who come in for an episode at a time to talk through the stories that they're talking. The structure of the podcast is, hey, remember the Satanic Panic from the 80s? What do you remember about that? And the answer is you're probably wrong about how you remember it. You're wrong about it has a 5-part series on the O.J. Simpson murder, chase, trial, aftermath, everything. Their Tonya Harding episode is heartbreaking. You're wrong about a deeply spectacular podcast. I have yet to load up an episode where I was like, I don't care about this one. I'm going to move on to the next one. That just totally did not happen. That is my podcast list so far. My wife listens to hundreds of podcasts, so I'm constantly getting new ones, but these are the ones that really stood out to me last year. Before I move on to some other cultural moments, okay, so podcasts is done and music is done. There were 2 products that I forgot to cover last time when I covered my favorite products and tools of 2025. I spend a lot of time going to cons every year, and I sign a lot of autographs. Now, when I sign my book, I sign in red so that you know it's a real signature, because if you sign in black, someone could convince you that it was printed. But I often sign photos and things of people's, and for those, a Sharpie just isn't quite the universal tool that you'd like it to be. And so I have paint markers, and paint markers can be a real bear. In higher altitudes, they can leak paint. When it's warm, they can leak. You got to shake them, and a whole paint pen only lasts for 1 day of a con, even though I'll try and make it continue and last for longer than a day. We, in our purchase of paint pens, at some point in the last year, purchased a package of these Sharpie paint pens, and I have to tell you, these are my new favorite paint pens. I'm just going to pull out the teal and pull off the cap. There's no shaking. There's no shaking. And look at how bright that is. That is real opaque color. I'm not doing a con in 2025 until March, but I cannot wait to bring these Sharpie paint pens with me because I feel like they're going to make the whole experience of being at a con much, much better. I can't stress enough how over paint pens I am, how fast they run out of their stuff, how inconsistently they go down, etc. This feels like it has solved a big problem. I could be totally wrong, but right now I am loving these things. The other product that I did not cover is from a category you might not even realize that I'm interested in, which is lock sport. I found a little piece of metal on the street when I was a kid, like a long piece of metal, and I was compelled by it, and I couldn't figure out what it was, but I realized that it fit perfectly into a keyway, and I used a Dremel and a file to turn it into a rudimentary lockpick. And in 1982, 83, I took some old locks that were in a drawer in the shop in the basement, and I started to teach myself how to pick locks. I later on found out that this thin piece of metal I found was a bristle from a steel bristled street sweeper brush, and that these show up on the street all the time, and you can find them everywhere if you are looking. And the very first thing that I ever downloaded from the internets, which was in 1991 or 2, was the MIT Guide to Lockpicking. I knew this book existed. When my friend was like, hey, I've got the internet, I was like, great. He's like, what do you want to download? And I was like, MIT Guide to Lockpicking. We downloaded it. First couple of pages of the MIT Guide to Lockpicking, they tell you that the best lockpicks are made from the metal bristles of a street sweeper brush. So I felt like an early adopter. And I have been poorly picking locks my whole life. I have gotten people into their cars. I've gotten them into their houses. I have gotten myself out of some jams. And I'm not great at it. But as an aficionado of lock sport, I am, of course, a fan of The Lockpicking Lawyer, a truly epic and legendary YouTube channel. And Lockpicking Lawyer has his own he makes tools for lockpickers, and his company is called Covert Instruments. And Covert Instruments just came out with this spendy little multi-tool called their Covert Companion. I am not going to walk you through all the features of the Covert Companion. We'll include a link in the description. You can go there. It's not for me to tell you about all the different things this can open, just to say that I've been buying Lockpicking Lawyers and Covert Instruments wares for a few years now. I have always found the stuff they make to be incredibly high quality. And also, as I've watched them develop some of their products, I've been able to see that this is like the spear point of a long period of deep development for them. And it is a magnificent execution of what it is, which is an everyday carry multi-tool for lockpicking that is easy to get what you need out of it, easy to put back into it. And it's not cheap. I said it was spendy. It's over a couple $100. I was very pleased to receive this and to run it through its paces. I was able to, I picked 7 out of the 9 locks I had on my coffee table with the rake right away, and it was a really nice initiation. So Covert Instruments, Covert Companion. Okay, back to the culture stuff. Let's see here. We've got, yeah, all right. Let's talk YouTube for real. There are some folks I've been watching on YouTube that I have not told you about. I told you about Cinema Tyler last year. I definitely have talked about Cinema Tyler on the channel. Remains a wonderful channel. I've also become aware of Cinema Sticks. Cinema Sticks proprietor is a writer and YouTuber named Danny Boyd, and he does deep dives into esoteric aspects of movies, and just did one about the practical effects from The Dark Knight and why they do so much to sell the movie and to push it forward. Cinema Sticks, for lovers of cinema and film history, is a wonderful set of deep dives. We had him here just the other day, Works by Design and his beautiful expanding chess pieces. We had him here because I've been really enjoying his channel over the last year. And where it comes to YouTube makers, I'm giving a call out to Inheritance Machining, a channel I've loved for years. I don't think I've talked about it, and I don't know why. I'm sorry about that. Inheritance Machining, both beautiful objects being made, but also really lovely cinematography in the making of those objects. Yes, Grady from Practical Engineering delivering me all the information I ever wanted about how the large structures of the world actually work. Practical Engineering, a phenomenal YouTube channel. Chronova Engineering, which I have covered in the past, and I just talked about them on this live stream because they restored a Schaublin lathe last year. Again, magnificent photography. Chronova Engineering and Inheritance Machining are the other two YouTube channels that have pantograph mills and have been exploiting them for cool builds. Chronova has been actually 3D printing large clock parts, which then they make in reduction on the pantograph mill. I'm hoping that at some point this year we could do some collaborations together. And then a channel I was late to, even though I've known about it for a long time, is Three Blue, One Brown, Grant Sanderson's channel, communicating about physics and mathematics. It is science communication at a deeply loving level. And years ago, Three Blue, One Brown did a series about calculus, about walking you through calculus, but really specifically with the goal to explain calculus to the viewer in such a simplistic way that the viewer could imagine that given enough time, they might have come up with calculus on their own. Now that might sound insane to you. Famously, calculus was invented by Isaac Newton, but also Leibniz, and actually a lot of other people. A lot of people have stumbled upon calculus as a way to solve the specific problems that calculus solves. And it wasn't just Isaac Newton. And I watched the first video of Three Blue, One Brown's calculus video. And at the end of it, I got choked up. I got choked up at the way he gave the knowledge to me because he was right. It did feel like I could have come up with calculus based on the way he laid it out. That's some science communication right there. So Cinema Sticks, Cinema Tyler, Works by Design, Inheritance Machining, Practical Engineering, Sagerman, Three Blue, One Brown. Yes, that is my... Every one of these is just a marvelous channel that goes deep, 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 because you know how much I love to go deep. Movies... I haven't seen a lot of the important movies this year, but what I have seen, the two that really stood out for me, and I saw them both in the theater, are Sinners. So spectacular. I got to see it down in LA with a friend. Really, really beautiful, really amazing. That single shot in Sinners, man, is so ambitious and it's so bold. I'm not going to spoil it if you haven't seen it. Just go see it. It's so ambitious and it's so bold and it's so sincere and earnest and it works so well. Sinners is incredible. And Michael B. Jordan just remains an astounding actor playing twin brothers. The other movie that I saw in the theater that I loved the living crap out of is Dan Trachtenberg's Predator Badlands. I'm a massive fan of Prey. I've watched it 3 or 4 times already. The animated anthology Killer of Killers, I still haven't gotten to it yet, but Predator Badlands, so much fun, so delightful. I love that my 2 favorite Predator movies have both come out in the last 18 months or a couple of years. It seems incredible. Yeah, besides that, I loved Companion. I thought Companion was really great. Great performances all around. Jack Quaid is the star. Companion involves a robot girlfriend that goes awry. Oh my God, it's very funny. Very, very funny. Along the lines of like The Hunt, you know, sort of, we're experiencing this whole moment of comedy gore, like Megan, Mem Thregan, however you pronounce that movie. And then the last movie I wanted to bring up was every year for the Academy Awards, you know, maybe you and your friends do like we do, is we have a little betting pool about who is going to be the last of the in memoriam. Who died this year that will get the top slot as the last in memoriam. And I think it's no mystery this year that it's got to be Robert Redford. It's got to be Robert Redford. Redford passed, and we in my house, like a lot of you watching probably did the same, watched a bunch of Redford movies to remind ourselves of what an unbelievable and singular, incredible talent Robert Redford was. And we watched All the President's Men. it remains an astounding movie. And if you've never seen All the President's Men, which is about how Woodford and Bernstein helped bring down the Nixon presidency, it is a movie that is thrilling from start to finish, and most of the action is two dudes making phone calls. Like, there's an entire single take scene in which Robert Redford dials a long distance number on a rotary phone, and you are watching and you are like, what is going to happen next? It is crazy how fast that movie clips along, and it is literally just people making phone calls and walking around talking to people. Insane. I want to get to books before I get to television. In books, I talk about prop making here in the cave, and I talk about the fact that for me, prop making is always about more than just fidelity to the original prop from the movie. And when I am making something, when I am purchasing something, a prop that means something to me, I want fidelity to the original less than I want an experience that feels like it has a fidelity to the original. I want the experience of the object to feel to me like the movie has arrived in reality and has handed me a piece of itself. And in that regard, my friend Indy Magnoli of Magnoli Clothiers makes some wonderful prop replicas. We'll include a link. But this year, he made a prop replica par excellence. He made There and Back Again, Bilbo Baggins' diary from The Hobbit. It comes with a drawing of Bilbo. It comes with a letter from Indy. I want to tell you that it is rare to the point of almost never happening that an object arrives here that exceeds any possible expectation I could have had for it. But this one actually does that. I've thought about making this diary. I love that scene in the movie when he closes it up and you see this, the There and Back Again, and he closes it. And I was thinking, oh, how could I replicate that? And I went down this rabbit hole of thinking about it. And it's a bear of a project. What Indy did was he actually worked with the Lord of the Rings fandom to build the three versions of this story, one from Bilbo, one from Frodo, and one from Sam. And they're all in this book, along with drawings and pictures. And then Indy taught himself how to do calligraphy in the Lord of the Rings font. If you're seeing some leaves in here, that's because I'm putting stuff between the pages as I'm owning this, because I think it looks cooler when I find stuff between the pages. He taught himself this font and then wrote all three of these stories by hand over the course of a year. And then it is printed. Every page is weathered. It is bound in leather. I have added all sorts. I've added every Middle Earth prop I've ever collected, and I've folded it up to put it in the pages here. I will tell you that the moment I received this, I realized, oh my God, I have one friend who is a Lord of the Rings absolute banana nut. They know everything there is to know about Lord of the Rings, and I immediately bought one of these from India and sent it to that friend. And I got to live through their seeing it vicariously, because that thing of like something exceeding what you thought was possible, it's a good feeling. Thank you, Indy. Thanks for this amazing book. I have two other books to cover. Actually, three other books to cover, but the other two I have physically here are, one is Shift Happens. Oh my goodness. So you've seen our videos here on the channel with Ryan Norbauer and his incredible Seneca keyboard. While we were there talking to him, he mentioned to me, I didn't know about this book. Norm knew about this, but I didn't. This is an insane book by Marcin Witchery called Shift Happens, and it is about the development of the keyboard. And it is self-published, self-designed. It was a Kickstarter. I will tell you that I was given this as a gift by a friend of mine who knows the author. And I was given this as a gift only about a week after I was on eBay realizing, oh my God, these have gotten really expensive and I'm not sure I'm going to buy one right now. So I am delighted to add this crazy deep dive into the development of typewriter keyboards and how they work and how we use them, and then how they shifted from typewriters to computers. This is an incredible, incredible document. I am so proud to have this in my collection, and I will read this cover to cover. The other giant book that I'm going to read cover to cover is this amazing 2-volume set chronicling the life and times of Doug Chiang. Incredible Star Wars designer, was my boss way back when I worked at Lucasfilm in the late 90s and early aughts. Coming soon on the channel, we'll have a beautiful sit-down interview with Doug about the book and about the stuff he learned laying this out. It is an embarrassment of incredible riches of Doug's unparalleled work, his paintings for Star Wars, but also you get to spend a whole volume getting to know the young Doug Chiang making movies, making stop motion movies at 16 and 17 in his bedroom in Los Angeles. Inspired by Star Wars. This is a human being who was that grown to eventually work on Star Wars and contribute to film history. These same authors did the beautiful book that we covered on Phil Tippett a couple of years ago, and this is no exception. It is like whatever you ever wanted to know about this person, it is in here within the confines of these 800 some odd pages. Crazy. The last book that really moved me this year was The Ministry of Time. It is a debut novel, which is so annoying because it's so well written. I don't want to spoil anything about The Ministry of Time, except that if you go to the bookstore or the library, read the first 2 pages. They will hook you. If they don't hook you, you don't have to read the book. They hooked the hell out of me. The Ministry of Time. Okay, we're almost there. Let us move to, I think we're down to, we got podcasts, we got books, we got, nope, yep, we're television. Television! Hey, everybody. Did you enjoy Alien Earth? Dude, among the people that I know, I've had a wide variance of opinion on Alien Earth. I've had some people be totally lukewarm to it, some people to be completely thrilled. I really enjoyed it. I also love watching Noah Hawley get his alien on, right? Like, I think it's the 4th episode where you get to you're almost looking at shots from the movie Alien. The set construction fidelity to the original was astounding, and I was most amazed. Oh my goodness! Alien Earth production team, I see that you made some of the red flashlights. You got to reach out to me. I want to see your design. Maybe I can help you for the next season. The eyeball monster from Alien Earth. If you haven't seen it, spoiler, the eyeball monster from Alien Earth is one of the coolest constructs of a thing that is alive that I have seen in a long time. And I cannot wait for the 2nd season and to learn what we will learn about the eyeball monster. I would watch that whole show just for the eyeball monster. Other standouts in television this year were The Pit, an almost real-time 22-hour shift in a hospital starring Noah Wyle from ER. It's a really beautiful show with a tremendous cast, tremendously strong performances from a wide range of actors, both old and young. This might be one of those shows in which there is just such a spectacular array of actors all delivering incredible performances. Yeah, The Pit is incredible, and we have a new season coming before the end of 2025. I'm so excited. The last thing I want to talk about this year in culture, the thing that really moved the hell out of me is Andor, Tony Gilroy's 2nd season of his Star Wars show. So many things have been written about this show, one of the most expensive budgets for a 2-season television show ever. I can't say enough about how much I love that show, about how surprised I was by where it took me, where it went. I said that The Pit is an incredible compendium of great performances. Andor is even deeper in its bench of incredible performances. I wanted to call out a few. Denise Goff, who plays Dedra. I've never met a villain that I also loved. I mean, I've liked a lot of villains. I've wanted to hang out and have a beer with a lot of villains in movies. But dude, her Dedra is like, it's amazing how well you get involved in her, even though you realize she's the villain of the story that you are enjoying. Faye Marsay, Elizabeth Dulon. Elizabeth Dulon plays Klaya, a huge role, playing opposite Stellan Skarsgård, who has always been one of my all-time favorite actors and continues to deliver incredible performances. Fiona Shaw, Ben Mendelsohn, A Murderer's Row, and then what turns out to be the magic of Genevieve O'Reilly, an unbelievable actor to bring her character to such fruition for Andor. So much complexity in her playing of that role. I found every single episode of Andor to be a banger. Tansy Gardam of the Going Road podcast taught me in her podcast about Andor that one of Tony Gilroy's favorite tricks as a writer is to get exposition out of the way by putting it between two characters who hate each other and are like arguing, and exposition comes out of that, but you don't even notice because you're just watching two people fight with each other. Tony Gilroy, if you haven't seen Michael Clayton, one of his films, it's one of my favorite movies. He is just this incredible narrative mind. He comes from a whole family. All of his family worked on Andor. His brother's an editor, and I can't even remember what the other siblings, family members do. But we are better for a show like that coming on. And it really, like, to me, it bettered television this year, and it also deepened Star Wars for me this year. It was almost like a story that didn't have to belong to the Star Wars universe, which is what made it such a strong addition to the Star Wars universe. There's not much in it that is very specifically like Jedi, and yet it brings a real gravity to the world that we all know so well. I think that is pretty much one more performance from Andor, Catherine Hunter. She plays Cyril's mom and is so scary in Andor. And if you like her in Andor, you've got to go watch her play a mob boss in Black Doves, which is I love that show. Catherine Hunter, she's one of those actresses who's not doing things that other actors do. I don't know how to describe it than that. Her choices are all strange, but they're all perfect. And I'm compelled and frightened by her characters. Did I mention she's like 4 feet tall? It's like Linda Hunt. It's like Linda Hunt it's like another actress of that kind of weird, marvelous gravity has arrived on the scene, and everything she does is incredible. Can't get enough of Catherine Hunter. It's like really my favorite weird ass breakout performance in Andor, which is a show packed with them. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching the channel. Thank you, patrons, for your continued patronage. As I say it every year, the flexibility your patronage gives us is really hard to overestimate. It feels like a family after all these years, and I really appreciate that. I learned so much from what you guys put into the comments when you are commenting on the stuff that we're putting out, and I want to thank you for that engagement. I think that wraps it up for 2025 for me here at Tested and from our whole team. We hope that you and your loved ones have had a good 2025 and that you look forward to a even better 2026. I know things are hard. So take good care of yourself first, and then take care of those people around you. Stay safe, and I will see you guys in 2026. Adam out.